Now, I am told, according to my tweets, I was just checking Twitter, it says here that the very dedicated Thad Starner is going to present here in a moment about he's been wearing a customized, according to the tweet, he's been wearing a customized computer continuously since 1993. And I'd like to call Thad up to the stage to present to us now. Thank you very much.
So I'm told I have 25 minutes, so I'll try to keep it to that, especially since I have a clock on my screen. So hopefully I can be pretty good about that. Wearable computing is basically about computers that are worn like clothing, that allow you to do computation and communication while you're having everyday interactions. And the idea is actually pretty old. A guy by the name of Claude Shannon and Ed Thorpe made one back in the 1960s for predicting roulette. And they actually made some money off of Las Vegas this way. Now, you might have heard those names before. Claude Shannon is the guy who gave us the term baud rate. Or bits per second. He's the father of information theory. Ed Thorpe, you may have also heard of if you are a gambler. He's the one who wrote the book, How to Beat the Dealer. In other words, he was a probability professor at MIT and showed how you can count cards. He also did this little thing called a hedge fund, which I guess may not make him so popular right now. But so these ideas actually were around before I was born. What my claim to fame is I'm the first person to use a wearable as an intelligent assistant in my everyday life. And I've been doing so since 1993. Now, along the way, I've convinced a lot of people at MIT and Georgia Tech and at ETH in Switzerland, Bremen and a few other places to actually live this lifestyle with me. And wearable computers is more about a lifestyle than anything else. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a community of people who use the technology we see coming for your everyday life and see where it leads, and may be able to sort of guide where the technology goes. Now, in the past 20 years, a lot of the ideas that we prototyped have come out. There's a lot of niche applications out there, as well as stuff that you're familiar with in your everyday life. Niche applications include things like inventory control. The image on the top right there is from Symbol Technologies, and this is a device they use in FedEx or UPS or big global mail delivery systems, so that when their workers are reaching into their big crate of packages, they reach in, trigger the barcode scanner, grab the package, and put it on the right conveyor belt. And it turns out that that little thing there is worth many, many millions of dollars and allowed Symbol to differentiate themselves from other vendors for this huge market on inventory control. There's also a lot of work in inspection, maintenance, and repair, and also in the medical field, things like implantables. They now have a system for Parkinson's disease, it's a wearable system, where there's an electrode that goes down into your motor cortex. It gives you sort of like a brain pacemaker that actually alleviates a lot of these symptoms you see in Parkinson's. For example, if you ever see a pill-rolling tremor, something that looks like this when somebody has Parkinson's, Michael J. Fox is a celebrity that you might have seen with this tremor. When you turn this thing on, suddenly they're like this. It's quite shocking. Unfortunately, the effect goes away after a few years, and we're doing a little work on that, trying to improve it. But these niche applications is not what I'm really excited about. What I'm excited about is how wearable computing is affecting the world. In 1996, we made a mobile computer about the size of 2 decks of cards put together. And we used that with a standard we were working on at the time called MP3. And we created a music player that could actually change the songs based off your mood. We used galvanic skin response, heartbeat, blood pressure, a few other things. And the system tried to guess what mood you're in and then change the song appropriately. We showed this to one of our sponsors. Their name was Sony. And they said, oh, we don't want that. We're like, well, why not? Well, we just bought Columbia Records, and having a digital form of our songs on a mobile device like this, an MP3, would encourage too much piracy. Of course, now, Apple is the new Sony. Interestingly enough, Apple was a sponsor at the time, but I don't think they got the idea from us. I've never asked, but one of the other things that came out of the wearable computing community is there was a big push for a body wireless standard. Now, this push came from FedEx. I gave a demonstration to FedEx, I think, in 1995, FedEx being the big American mail delivery service. They looked at my equipment, which was pretty similar to what you're seeing right now, actually. It's an older system. And they thought that this guy, Thad Starner, was completely nuts. And then they came back the next month and said, we want to equip every carrier in our fleet, every person who drives a truck in our fleet with a wearable computer. And we're going to spend $100 million next year to do it. I'm sitting here with my jaw on the floor going, you're nuts. You're, kind of flipped the other way now. Why would you want to do that? Well, because we want our mail delivery people, our carriers, not to be package movers. They are customer relationship managers. We want to automate the package flow so much that they can actually shake hands, get a personal rapport with the people they're working with, and actually represent our company. And they said, well, what? I said, well, that's great. I understand now why you want to do it, but you still can't do it. The technology is not there. What do you need for the technology? I mean, you're doing it. It's like, well, what you really want to do is get rid of these wires. And for that, you really need something called BodyNet, or this personal area network we're working on. But it's really got to be an industry standard. And so FedEx, in particular, a guy by the name of Dick Braley, set out to make something called 802.15, which you guys now know as Bluetooth. Fortunately, Ericsson, who was also another one of the sponsors visiting at the time, had something cooking up in their labs and brought it out in a rush order for us so that we'd actually have it ready for the standard. We've seen other stuff come out of the community, including things like instant messaging on mobile phones. We called it Zephyr in the 90s, early 90s. We also did something called augmented reality. Now, we coined the term augmented reality to sort of convey to people what it was we wanted to do. And let me show you something from '96 that actually shows that. The idea is that we could actually have a system where we move the World Wide Web to the real world. Everywhere you look, there might be tags. These days they're called QR codes that show you hidden content on the physical world. And that content basically just hooks back up to the World Wide Web. These days, you don't need the tags. And you can actually do 3D alignment. You see this is kind of 2.5D. But you can actually do 3D alignment with these things. We'll see another example of this in a second. And remember, this is 1996. Now, what's cool about all this is you no longer need really high-end equipment to do this. One of the professors at Georgia Tech, this guy here, by the name of Blair McIntyre, has got a lot of this stuff working on mobile phones. And he's been doing augmented reality as drama. Right? He's put you into movies or plays with your cell phone or into Second Life. And he's actually showing how you might use this augmented reality to extend media as we know it. So what's really great is that we've had a lot of people take the ideas we had from the wearable computing community and run with them, and it's been wonderful to see all this stuff happen. But I think a lot of the lessons we learned have been lost. I have a video to show what I mean about that. Let me actually make sure my audio is on here.
BlackBerry from RIM Systems. Text, web, email, power in the palm of your hand for the professional on the go. And introducing the Blackberry Helmet, reinforced polymer to protect the skull of the mobile professional on the go, with an antenna for better BlackBerry reception so you can spend more time on your BlackBerry. And a camera that broadcasts a picture of what's in front of you to your BlackBerry so you can always be looking at your BlackBerry. The Blackberry Helmet with optional safety flag. Protect your skull while you destroy your thumb.
What I love about that is I didn't have to make it. Some comedians at the CBC did, the Rick Mercer report. But it kind of shows that people, the community is now becoming aware that these devices are replacing our lives. With a BlackBerry, you can see people walking down the street completely absorbed in the keyboard and screen that they have, and they're forgetting to live, right? We're trying to make devices here that augment your life, that make your life calmer, that actually helps manage your interruptions instead of creating more of them, that creates systems that are part of your life, that augment your experience, not replace your experience in the real world.